Your guiding light is all I know. Through wood and steel, through fire and lace, I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Is to a throwing arcane. You laid the path before me. You guided every step. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead time it sore? Build the land, our hearts within. From dawn till dusk, I work, I strive. With your blessing, I'll survive. The loom, the forge, the sword, the grain in your name, I rise again. Strength in you lies skill. Each victory, each talent, each trial. No task too great, no skill too small. Your gifts, dear goddess, guide us all. Into force. Without your light, we have no guide, but with your hand, our place abides. Raise the hammer, string the bow. Her gift is all I need to know. Through toil and trial, through heart and hand, her grace builds up this mighty land. Is the grass the dead? Our greatest deed, by the grace of the goddess we are free. We'll build the land, our hearts within. I'm blessed to walk within your grace. Blessed by her grace, forever.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Pax Dei, The Search for Steel. I'm your host, Daniel, and I will be guiding us through this episode, which will be all about what happens when your inner compass meets the outside world, and whether that world is medieval raid party. Excuse me. And whether that world is a medieval raid party, digital guild hall, or your Monday morning team meeting. In this episode 145, we have values in action, from MMORPGs to the workplace. This is our 5th episode on values, and well worth it, I imagine. And I just realized that I am not giving world audio. So, as we go through the I don't want to call it a lecture, the episode, if you will. We will be probably going to mine some stuff. Let's go mine stuff today. I am getting ready for that day where we are going to basically become verse 3, which is basically we're going to not have everything I have right now, and it's really up to the air what I'll have. So, with all that said and done, let's go get some wrought iron, which is out of iron nodules. So today we're going to do something a little bit different, as we're diving into the worlds where our core values truly get tested, right? Revealed, and sometimes even forged anew. Why focus on gaming and work? Well, many of us know that who we are shows up just as much in late night raids as it does in boardrooms and meeting rooms. The way we treat each other, solve problems, and handle both victory and defeat. These are places where values aren't just words. They're real actions, seen by others and felt by ourselves. So tonight, whether you're a gamer, a leader, or someone who finds themselves somewhere in between, we will explore how honesty, loyalty, generosity, and integrity come alive within our communities. Digital and real. We'll share stories, case studies, and insights to help you see your values, quote unquote, in the wild, and maybe even inspire you to lead with your best self, no matter what world you're in. So let's get ready, press start, and dive in. Yeah, no, I wrote that and I was like, man, I get excited just because it's so cheesy. Anyway, so let's start with values in virtual realm and the MMORPG experience. So just for those of you who are not familiar, who are listening for the leadership aspect of this and are unfamiliar with the term MMORPG, which I highly doubt, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's massive multiplayer online role-playing. So imagine you're stepping into that massively multiplayer online role-playing game, and say whether it's World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or Pax Dei or EVE Online or any expansive online game. Just insert game you like here. You create your avatar, and then you choose normally a faction or a guild, and you embark on quests from players around the globe, with players around, right? At first glance, it's escapist entertainment, and a way to be a mythical hero or a cunning rogue, far removed from real life or rules, real life rules at that. People often assume it's, quote, just a game. Oh boy. Parkour. There we go. But yet you've spent time in these worlds. You know that real human values often carry over, consciously or unconsciously. In fact, you are in a game, who you are in a game can be a funhouse mirror reflection of who you are in real life or who you wish to be. Let's break down a few examples of values showing up in MMORPGs. So we have honesty and honor versus cheating and exploitation. Online games frequently offer temptations to bend the rules. Maybe an exploit or a cheat becomes known that gives you an unfair advantage. Now, some players will jump at it and say, hey, it's just a game. Who cares about the rules? I mean, it wouldn't be, if it were not allowed, it wouldn't be an exploit, right? But many others refrain, guided by a sense of fair play. They value the integrity of the game, a level playing field. There's almost an unwritten code among honorable players. They won't use third-party hacks. They won't use ninja loots, ninja loot, which is basically stealing loot that isn't rightfully theirs in a group content. They keep their word in deals, and That code is essentially values like fairness, integrity, respect for others in action. If you've ever been in a guild somewhere and someone violated these norms, stole items from the guild bank or scammed another player, you know the outrage it can cause. Even in fantasy, trust is a valuable currency, right? And breaking it has real consequences, even though you're playing a game. Perhaps you're kicked from the guild, shunned by the community as a whole. So players with a strong inner compass will often play clean, if you will, even if they could get ahead by cheating, because their personal value of honesty and honor is at stake. As one gaming site posted, or poised, I should say, not posted, but poised. Quote, does your real-life moral compass dictate your MMO activities? For a lot of folks, the answer is yes, it does. And those who shelve their moral compass in-game might find it affects their reputation and relationships in the game world, too. So what about community values, teamwork, loyalty, and generosity? Well, most MMORPGs are cooperative at their core. You team up and tackle dungeons or epic bosses. Within good guilds, values become explicit. Guild characters often list principles like respect each other, help newcomers, no hate speech, fair play. These values turn into rules. A guild that values teamwork and altruism will have high-level players spending time helping low-level ones gear up, or everyone chipping in for guild events. For example, you might see an experienced healer teaching newbies the ropes out of sheer helpfulness. It reflects generosity, patience, and mentorship values. Some guilds even institute sort of an Ubuntu-like spirit. If rare loot drops, they distribute it in a way that benefits the group, not just individual greed. Contrast that with a more egotistical group, egotistic group, where everyone is out for themselves. Which team would you rather be a part of? Likely the one with positive value-driven cultures. It's more fun and fulfilling to play where loyalty, friendship, and cooperative spirit are alive. So let's inject a fictional case here for color. The tale of the Guild of the Silver Dawn. Silver Dawn is a fictional MMORPG guild known server-wide for its camaraderie and integrity. The leader, Arya, set the tone from day one. We treat each other like family and treat outsiders with courtesy. We don't abandon teammates, and we don't break our promises. Very palatable, by the way. These are guild core values: loyalty, kindness, and honor. During a tough raid, one of the rarest swords in the game drops. Something everybody wants, every warrior that can use it once, right? By raw damage numbers, it's a slight upgrade for the guild's top warrior, but Arya knows another quieter member who always shows support for others, who would benefit more overall because it would elevate that under-geared player to viability. The guild as a whole discusses it. Transparency is another value here. And they decide to give the sword to the under-geared member, trusting that it strengthens the team. The top warrior, valuing the guild's good over personal gain, gladly agrees. This selflessness pays off. Next week, they defeat a boss they couldn't have defeated before because everyone is stronger. And guess what? A similar epic drop item drops. The warrior gets his upgrade too in the end. But even if it hadn't, he felt proud to be in a group that values each other. Now imagine a different guild. We'll call it the Blood Gold Clan, where the ethos is might makes right, and personal glory is all that counts. In that guild, the strongest player would have snatched the sword immediately, maybe even skipping the agreed loot rules. So perhaps they progressed fast initially, by min-maxing. But over time, trust erodes, and after a feeling used and, members start leaving, right? Feeling used and underappreciated. And the guild starts to crumble. This little parable shows that how values directly affect group success and sustainability, not just in games, but in any team, which bridges us to the workplace. So let's talk about roleplay and experimenting with values. One fun aspect of MMORPGs is you can roleplay a character and perhaps unlike yourself. Interestingly, this can either be a chance to practice your real values in a new form, or to experiment with different moral choices safely. For example, a normally conflicted or a normally conflict-adverse person might play a brash, justice-driven paladin who calls out wrongdoing, thereby exercising courage and leadership values they want to strengthen in themselves. On the flip side, a very responsible person might play a sneaky thief character who double-crosses the NPCs just to explore the shadow side. Though usually within the game's story context, no harm to the real players. Because that would just undermine the entire thing. Some research suggests that generally players carry their real life moral decision making into games. They feel genuinely bad when making evil choices, and many gravitate to virtuous paths in RPGs because it feels right. Oh boy. Have you ever played a game with moral choices like Mass Effect, Skyrim, Baldur's Gate 3, etc., and found yourself unable to choose the cruel option even though it's just pixels? It's your real values in action. Your inner compass doesn't just shut off when you log in. However, some do use games to act out things they would never do in reality, like being ruthless or deceptive. As an example from this, from the search result where a player enjoyed being a sociopathic ganker, EVE Online, of course, while being an upstanding citizen in real life. This suggests one of two things. Either it's purely play acting and they keep a strict boundary, values compartmentalization, or it can be a release valve for their frustrations. But interestingly, even that player said they recognize none of those behaviors would be acceptable in real life. It's like temporarily suspending one of your values or set of values to indulge in another. Perhaps the value of personal freedom, thrill, or mastery in a cutthroat environment. But even in ruthless games like EVE, famous for scams and betrayals, many players form tight corporations with internal codes of conduct. So within their values of loyalty and honesty are still paramount. It's just toward the rivals they allow Machiavellian tactics. It's a bit like how in sports you might play aggressively against the other team, but still follow sportsmanship rules overall. Everyone has a line they won't cross, even in games. Let me look for the next nodule. I gotta be careful around this area. I can get some aggro, and I don't have any weapons on me. So let's talk personal development through gaming. Believe it or not, playing in a guild or leading one can actually hone your real life values and skills. So I am going to advocate in my business life that people should actually put MMORPGs achievements down on their resume. And get more into that in episodes in the future. Many guild leaders find themselves practicing they practice their core values: leadership, conflict resolution, fairness, and governance. Essentially, running a small organization with diverse folks, worldwide, global diverse folks. By the way, the best guild leaders often carry strong values. They genuinely care about their members. They value empathy. They enforce fair play. They value justice. They sacrifice for the group. They value service. This can translate into their real leadership style at work or school. Similarly, a shy person who values community might find their voice as a raid coordinator in-game, then feel more confident organizing things in real life. A group of friends who value inclusivity might start in a game guild, making sure no one is bullied out of chat or bullied in chat. And that spirit could carry over on how to treat people at work or school, intervening in someone's poor treatment. So games can be a training ground, or at least a revealing ground, if you will, for our inner compass. To wrap up the gaming side, your inner compass doesn't disappear when you enter Azeroth or a Pax Dei, right? Or any other virtual world. In fact, the virtual world can illuminate what value by giving you, or I should say, what you value by giving you different scenarios to react to. If you pay attention, you might learn that you care a lot about honor and loyalty, because seeing someone betray their guild may make your blood boil. Or that you deeply value generosity, becoming helpful, that a newbie gave you more joy in beating a high-level boss than all right. So let's just end that statement there, right? That thought. You might discover a leadership streak or a protective streak that you didn't know you had. A key takeaway is, even in just the game or a game, values create community and meaning. Players stick to the game with a game, not just for gameplay, but because bonds and shared code of contact makes them feel part of something worthwhile. Let me hold on for a second. I can't control two things at once, but I really need to do something. All right. There we go. And I needed to do, what else did I need to do real quick? What was I looking for? Ah, that's what I was looking for. I just want to get rid of some of these because I don't need any of these. It's funny because anybody coming on the path will be able to pick any of these up if they want them, which is fine. I am here just for these wrought iron or iron knot nodes. I honestly don't care about anything else. Okay. So now let's toggle from fantasy to reality and talk about the values in the workplace and leadership. So every workplace might seem all about targets, deadlines, and bottom lines, but beneath the surface of every organization, you have values, either explicit or implicit, that drive culture and decisions. When you walk into a company lobby, you usually see their mission statement and core values on the wall. You might be cynical. Oh, those are just platitudes. And indeed, sometimes companies' values don't they don't live by, right? Which creates this cynicism among employees. However, when a workplace truly embodies its core values, it can be incredibly motivating and binding for a team or for the team. And when individuals align their personal values with their organizations, that's often where they find the most fulfillment and success. So let's explore a mix of scenarios and principles. So the first one we're going to go over is personal values in career choices. I shouldn't aggro anyone around here, so I'm going to kind of go up this way, sprint up those things, those type of grading hills, and you get up no problem. So on an individual level, knowing your core values can guide big in career decisions, right? For example, if one of your top values is creativity, you'll likely seek out a job or industry that rewards innovation and avoid over-rigid procedural rules. If helping others is core, you may gravitate to healthcare, education, or customer service-oriented work. If independence is the key, perhaps you'll prefer freelancing or a company with an autonomous culture. Many career culture, I'm trying to avoid them at the same time. I want to see my note headings. So if independence is key, perhaps you'll prefer that freelancing company, right? So where was I? Many career coaches actually start off by clarifying values with clients, because a job that conflicts with one's value often leads to dissatisfaction and burnout. That is, someone who values work-life balance will suffer in an 80-hour stress-filled position, like a Wall Street job, or even if they excel at it, as illustrated by that research on misalignment. It'll cause stress. Conversely, someone whose value is ambition and achievement might love that environment. So part of living meaningfully, or a meaningful professional life, is choosing a path that resonates with your values. And I should be coming over here for another one. Do I have any others? I think this is it. Okay. So let's look at values-based leadership. If you move into leadership roles, leading with values becomes crucial. Leaders who articulate and model clear values can inspire trust and loyalty. Think of respected leaders like perhaps Satya Nadella of Microsoft, who emphasized a growth mindset and empathy in transforming the company culture, or Jacinda Ardern, former PM of New Zealand, known for compassionate leadership. They stood out because they consistently acted on values, innovation, and respect in one case, and compassion and inclusivity in the other. Leadership research calls this authentic leadership, and finds that leaders who know and live their values create more engaged and trusting teams. One MIT Sloan article pointed out identifying and articulating your core values is an important first step. Next is measuring how these values influence your decisions and actions daily. Employees quickly pick up on a leader who says integrity, but then fudges numbers or breaks promises. The dissonance, or what's a yeah, this I want to say a different word. That this resonance, or the conflict, it wrecks morale. On the flip side, a leader who might have to give tough news like budget cuts, but does it so transparently and fairly, living the value of honesty, will maintain respect even though the news is hard. Let's do a quick fictional workplace story. Sophia's Dilemma, we'll call it. Sophia is a mid-level manager at a gaming company. I'm trying to tie things together. The company's official core values are player focus, innovation, and integrity. One day, Sophia discovers a glitch in a soon-to-launch game that could let the company slip in pay-to-win mechanic unnoticed. Something she knows is against the spirit of fair play, and thus undermines integrity and player focus. There's a pressure from some of the higher-ups to ignore it because it can boost short-term monetization, and they're close to launch. Sophia's inner compass and the company's stated values scream it's not right for the players. She decides to speak up in the meeting. She calmly outlines, yes, fixing it might delay the launch, maybe a week, but it's the right long-term thing to do. We said integrity. If we betray player trust now, we lose reputation. That's hard to regain. It's a risky move, but her argument resonates with the others. They fix the glitch, even announce the decision publicly to be transparent. Players respond with praise for the company's honesty, and it actually becomes a PR win, deepening loyalty. Sophia's courage to uphold the values not only saved a potential PR disaster, but it reinforced the kind of culture the company claimed to have. If her higher-ups initially had lost sight of values in panic, her action helped realign them. This shows how even one person living their values can shift an entire organization's path, especially if those values were supposedly shared. It's like reactivating the organization's inner compass when it drifted. And that's okay. We had already mentioned in earlier episodes, even our inner compass drifts, and we have to course correct, and that's okay. That's not a slight to yourself, or in this case, the company. Now, if they continually do it, or you continue to do it, you might want to reassess which values you actually have. But that's not the conversation we're having. Let's talk corporate values versus enacted values. Many companies have beautifully crafted value statements. As a matter of fact, they spend millions of dollars on those value statements from other companies, right? Or, they're like, go to another company and they're like, hey, craft this statement for us. Make it awesome. I love those. But the enacted values are what people actually experience day to day. For instance, a company might list respect, customer commitment, and excellence. But in practice, the employees see disrespectful internal communications or corners cut on quality for profit. This gap breeds disillusionment. Totally. However, companies that walk their talk attract and retain people much better. For example, Patagonia, the outdoor apparel company, has a core value of environmental responsibility. They enact it by donating a portion of the profits to environmental causes, making durable products, even telling customers to buy less of their stuff, and providing repair services. Employees and customers see those values truly lived. creating a strong brand authenticity. Another example is Salesforce. It has a value of equality and inclusion. They put money into equal pay efforts and workforce diversity. That is visible action that strengthens employee pride and loyalty. Remember, we're talking values, so don't go off on a tangent with me here. I'm giving you examples of values. We can talk other stuff later. Let's see. It's over here. Oh, I almost forgot. There we go. For you as an individual, you'll find yourself in a workplace whose values are deeply at odds with yours. Say you value transparency, but the culture is secret and political. Or you value collaboration, but the culture is cutthroat and competitive. You'll likely feel stressed or demotivated. Remember, the concept of cognitive dissonance and burnout from values misalignment, yeah, that's what you're feeling. Sometimes you can be a change agent, but other times it's wiser to seek a better fit. Why am I not? I'm aiming at it, right? Many people in recent years have been doing this kind of reevaluation. The coined or the flavor of the month was called the Great Resignation. It was in part about folks wanting more meaningful values-aligned work, or more values-aligned work. On the flip side, if you find or help create a workplace aligned with your values, work feels less like work and more like a mission. So let's talk everyday ethics and decisions. Beyond lofty value statements, everyday work life is full of ethical choices. For example, do I take responsibility for a mistake, or do I quietly let somebody else take the fault? Do I give honest feedback or avoid conflict? Do I pad an expense report, because everyone does it, or stay accurate? These moments are the character building instances. If you're guided by your inner compass, you'll strive to do what aligns to your personal and it aligns with your personal and professional values, even if it's the harder route. It might mean confessing to an error to a client, which, because you value honesty, which is scary but often earns respect in the long term. Or defending a colleague who's being blamed unfairly, which you value justice and loyalty. Or simply refusing to engage in gossip because it conflicts with your value of respect. As the saying goes, integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Companies comprise of individuals who will do that naturally have a strong ethical culture. And for those of you hiring managers, and again, we'll go into hiring and interview questions and different types of interviews you can conduct. The golf is one of the best indicators of integrity and honesty. Why, you ask? Because you grade yourself. Yes, you do. You have to keep track of you don't keep track of everybody else's. Now, a boss or a hiring manager in this scenario would probably be looking at your swings and seeing if you're actually close to the actual swing count, or you're padding it, making it look like you're better than you are, or worse than you are. It can go both ways. All right, let's go over here. So, everyday ethics and decisions. That's what we just went over. Let's go over creating values-driven team culture. If you're a team leader, You can actively cultivate values. For instance, you can start team meetings with a shout-out segment where people mention something a coworker did that exemplified a core value. I want to shout out Alex for excellence in how she handled the client crisis on Monday. She went above and beyond. I am. Wait a second. I didn't realize I was that full. There we go. Or kudos to Jamal for teamwork. He sacrificed his own comfort to help finish my project on time. This reinforces and rewards value-aligned behavior. You can also integrate values into hiring, asking interview questions that reveal a candidate's values and how they align with the team's values, and into performance reviews, not just what people achieved, but how they achieved it. Did they do it collaboratively, ethically, etc., as per the values of the company? Or, let's keep it there. Many forward-thinking companies do this now, evaluating employees on cultural value and contributions, not just metrics. This ensures success. And it ensures success is defined not solely by output, but by the method and attitude that uphold the inner compass of the organization. I think I'm and let me take a sip of Zevia. Mouth is getting dry. As a matter of fact, as I'm running across here, hands off keyboard action. And we'll go over here. And why do I know where all these nodes are? Mostly because I live in this world. All right. So what happens when values clash at work? Well, sometimes you'll experience a clash between your personal values and something at work, whatever it is. We touched on this in Sophia's story. Another common one is the value of work-life balance versus workplace that demands constant availability, or a personal value of inclusion versus seeing the company subtly have discriminatory practices. These are tough situations, and often what triggers people to speak up or leave if unresolved, or leave before it's resolved. It may require courageous conversations, talking to HR or leadership about your concerns, framing it in terms of the company's own professed values, if possible. We say respect is a value, so we should address the disrespect happening in these meetings. Sometimes change happens from such conversation. Other times, it falls on deaf ears. You might decide your fulfillment and integrity require finding a better environment. And that's a personal choice. But your inner compass will often tell you when a situation has become morally or psychologically untenable. One inspiring real example. Some employees at a large tech company have organized petitions and walkouts over projects they felt violated their ethical values, like AI being used unethically or discriminatory practices. These employees aligned with their personal values and of social responsibility or justice, even at the risk of job security, to try to move their employer toward a higher ethical ground. That's the inner compass-driven action in corporate setting. And indeed, in some cases, it led to a company rethinking or even canceling controversial projects. It underscores that values can be powerful motivators for change. And again, I'm talking values, people. Talking values. I am not saying anything other than values right now. We can get into these examples in a much more in-depth way, with a lot more critical thinking behind them, etc., etc. However, we're talking about values. All right. let's see. Benefits of value-driven workplace. When a workplace truly lives by positive core values, employees experience higher job satisfaction, engagement, and loyalty. There's less cognitive dissonance, stress. Have to do what I hate. That's cognitive dissonance, if you ask me. More pride. I love what my company stands for. It also tends to attract like-minded talent, creating a virtuous cycle. For business, numerous studies link strong ethical cultures to better long-term performance, likely because trust, cooperation, and reputation, all by products of value, right, lead to more sustainable success rather than short-sighted opportunism. For example, is that a boar or a bear? That's a bear. I'm gonna be careful. Where am I? Let's go this way. See where I am. Yeah, this way. Got turned around. I have a compass now. I don't use it because I'm not used to using it. But yeah, there's it's over here. Anyway, so the benefits of a values-driven workplace, right? Let's tie this back to our inner compass metaphor. The inner compass metaphor. Let's tie it back. A company can be seen as a ship or a ship at sea as well. Its mission is design. It is the designation. Its strategy is the map, and its values are the compass, keeping it on a true course even when it storms. Market pressures, crises, when they hit, that's when it keeps you guiding through to the correct from point A to point B. Companies that abandon their values for a quick gain often go astray. Like a ship that forgets to adjust for the currents. They might find themselves way off course or even wrecked on ethical shoals, if you will. Scandals, loss of trust. History is full of corporate scandals. Enron is a great example. Let me grab some more of this. Get rid of that. I thought there was. Yeah, there's some over here. Purple. You gotta be careful with the bear they put over here. So let's bridge the MMORPGs and worlds. It's interestingly, whether you're leading a raid or a sales team, many principles overlap. Clear communication, fairness, celebrity wins, learning from losses, trusting your mates. Those are universal. Gamers are among you might the gamers among you might chuckle that running a guild is sometimes as hard as managing a department, and the leaders might note that sometimes motivating employees has parallels in keeping guild members engaged. Pizza parties versus in-games events. And again, these are just examples. I don't think pizza parties. You can get to that in a later episode. In both, authenticity and fairness earn respect, while favoritism or deceit breed resentment. So whether you're slaying dragons or business targets, your inner compass is your guide to doing it in a way that you'll be proud of when you log off or go home for the day. And as we saw, living by values builds not only your character in-game and out, but also often leads to better outcomes and richer relationships. So now we've journeyed through understanding values. In episode 142, we were drawing on deep wisdom in 143, implementing values and personality in 144, and then seeing them play out in group contests like games and work in this episode 145. It's been quite an adventure, weaving through the personal and collective dimensions. So that's really all I have for tonight's episode of Pax Dei, The Search for Steel. But if you take one thing with you, let it be this. Well, you know what? Let me do something else, because I want to do some key takeaways before you. So let's briefly, because I said those episodes out loud, but if this is the first episode you're hearing, intro and in the intro in episode 142, we established why values matter, especially in today's world of distraction and change. We used the metaphor of the inner compass, that internal set of values that keeps you oriented in what truly matters when external circumstances are turbulent or seductive. We saw that aligning your values leads to greater fulfillment and authenticity, whereas losing sight of them can leave you feeling empty or off course, if you will, despite worldly success. The introduction also set a warm, reflective tone. This is a personal journey, like a guided quest to rediscover what we care about most. Also, when in episode 142, we delved into defining and discovering your core values. We did exercises reflecting on peak experiences, pain points, admired figures, magic wand scenarios, all to draw out themes of what you truly value. We discussed the importance of narrowing and prioritizing values. You can't chase top 15 or 15 top priorities effectively. Remember, Brene Brown said, pick 2. I say pick 3. Pick what you're comfortable with. It's personal, right? And I gave tips on refining them and making them your own, with your own definitions and examples. We also did a short meditation to connect emotionally with a value and considered how values differ from goals or societal shoulds. A big message there was that values are deeply personal and chosen. They represent who you want to be, not what others want from you. By the end of that episode, 142, you'll come out with ideally having a clear list of a few core values that resonate strongly with you. In episode 143, we took a grand tour, because this channel is all about philosophical and cultural wisdom, right? We wanted to point out those worldwide philosophical and cultural wisdoms on values themselves. We saw across Stoicism, virtue is the highest good. Viktor Frankl, finding meaning through values even in suffering. Confucianism, cultivating benevolence, property, and righteousness, or propriety, and righteousness. Ubuntu, I am because we are. Community and compassion. Islamic teachings we dipped into, compassion, justice, golden rule. And indigenous wisdom, harmony with nature and all relations. There is a remarkable convergence on the idea that living by core principles leads to good and meaningful life. We heard quotes and stories from Cicero's "The man who has virtue is in need of nothing for living well," to Frankl's quote, last of human freedoms, unquote, to Mimeti's, I am because we are, to the Lakota, all my relations. Prayer. Episode 143 hopefully broadened our perspective and our inner compass. Is part of a very old human conversation on how to live. And it also showed that different values aren't random, but something that wise minds over centuries, over the world, have validated as worthy. In episode 144, we moved to practical tools for living your values. This was perhaps one of the most actionable parts as we discussed setting daily intentions, translating values into concrete behaviors, doing regular self-check-ins and morning and evening, journaling about value alignment, seeking accountability and support, handling conflicts between values, and using values to build resilience in tough times. We also did another meditation visualization, projecting ourselves into the future where we are living our values fully to feel what that would be like and motivate us, hopefully. The key message here is it's not enough to have values written down. The magic is in living them consistently through habits and choices. We acknowledged it's an ongoing process, that nobody's perfect. But with these tools, you can increasingly bridge the gap between who you want to be and how you actually live. We also cited research showing the benefits: less stress, better decision making, more motivation and meaning, and so on, when you align your actions with values. And of course, in our final episode for the series, not for the Pax Dei, the Search for Steel, today we illustrated the values in grouped contexts, specifically MMORPGs and the workplace, to show how values guide interactions, culture, and success in teams. The fun part with gaming showed that even in virtual worlds, values like fairness, loyalty, and generosity create better guilds and experiences, whereas lack of values, meaning toxic behavior and cheating, ruins communities. It was a metaphor that even in play, our inner compass matters. We talked about guild leaders as value-driven leaders and how players often carry real-life morals into games, or vice versa. Then, in the workplace section, we highlighted how personal and organizational values impact career choices, leadership and leadership effectiveness, company culture, and ethical behavior. We shared examples standing up for values at work, like Sophia's story, and how companies thrive when they live their professed values and suffer when they don't. Essentially, in episode 145, we demonstrated that values aren't abstract. They're highly practical in shaping group success and personal integrity in any setting, from raids to meeting groups. Let me check this out. There we go. Getting down to it. I'm surprised my axe didn't destroy itself yet. Wow, we covered a lot of ground. But I feel you can see some common threads. Let me say them out loud. And maybe you agree or disagree. Put it in the comments. Authenticity. Being true to your values leads to authenticity. Whether as a gamer, not ganking because it feels wrong, or as a manager, being honest with your team. It's about alignment between your inner beliefs and your outward actions. This alignment is key to not feeling like you're living a lie. Wow. I'm still still not done with this, huh? I was hoping I'd, Where is it? Where is that iron going? Saying I'm picking up one iron, but I'm not picking up any more iron. Interesting. There we go. Now, even if I get an inventory full, I don't care because I'm getting iron. So, keep it. So what about courage? It often takes courage to live by these values. You might stand out or face short-term losses, like speaking up against something unjust or refusing to cheat, even if others do. But courage is often a value itself that underpins the practice of all other values. All the Stoics agree. All the Stoics are like, yep, that's true, yep. So, what about reflection? Reflection is continuous self-reflection is necessary, right? Life changes. We face new challenges, and regularly consulting in our inner compass through journaling, meditation, or just quiet moment of honesty with ourselves is how we ensure we're still on course and recalibrate if needed. I did. Anyway. How about community? Values influence and are influenced by those around us. Surrounding yourself with people, friends, colleagues, guildmates, clanmates, whatever whatever game you're in, who respect and share your values, bolster you. Conversely, be mindful of environments where the prevailing values. Let me see if I am all full up. And that is a true statement, so I'll put that away and we're out. There we go. Where was I? So conversely, we're still in community. Be mindful of environments where the prevailing values pressure you into compromising yours. Building or finding a supportive community, even if it's a small circle, can make living your values much easier and much more rewarding. And the last one is meaning and guidance. Ultimately, values give meaning to both good times and bad. They amplify joy because you can see how your success is aligned with what you care about. And they can give you a sense of purpose or at least dignity in hardship because you can choose to respond in line with your values, even when things go wrong. In that way, I should say, your inner compass is both a guide and a source of meaning. It ensures whatever external journey you're on, career, relationships, projects, you're also on an inner journey of becoming the person you want to be. And that is profoundly meaningful. So the subtitle of our podcast is building a life of meaning through core values. We've spoken about building. It suggests an active, ongoing process. Indeed, think of your life as a house or a ship you are constructing. Your values are the foundation or the keel. They provide stability and direction. Without a strong foundation, a house might look fancy but collapse in a storm. Without a keel or a compass, a ship might adrift or capsize. But with them, you have resilience and direction. Another way to look at it, at meaning, is that it's something you actively create through how you live, not something you passively find. Two people could have the same circumstance, say retire with a certain amount of money. One finds finds it meaningless and boring, the other finds it rich and purposeful. The difference often lies in whether they are engaging in their values. That is, one might value community and uses retirement to volunteer and socialize, finding great meaning. The other might not have a clear sense of purpose and feels adrift. We give meaning to our lives by what we choose to care about and how we consistently act on those cares themselves. And I got a decent amount of these. What I don't want to do is I don't want to overlap me putting these into the kiln, and then of course then resetting everything, because I'll lose all that iron that I'm doing. And I can do wrought iron in here. Oh, not there. More of this. Okay, get back in. More iron. See how many I can actually do. This is for blacksmithing technically, so if you're wondering what I'm doing, to get blacksmithing up to par, you definitely need to have lots and lots of iron. In this case, this is wrought iron, so it's one below steel. That's okay. Oh, cool. I was wondering if I get all three. Oh, and I did. Oh, I didn't keep some semblance of order before the Great Flood is upon us. There we go. Let's go up to a place and finish this episode of Virtues. Let's finish it. We'll go up to a nice area where we can look at the distant view of the cool graphics. Maybe we'll be here, maybe. Let's see what's here. We got that. That's not bad. It's my bedroom. That's not. It's basically a mountainside. Yeah, I gotta pick up a better place next time. How about here? Ah, that's nice. We're right under the moon and everything. Okay. Alright, so where were we? So, let's talk about how you become your own guide, because these episodes are great for a little bit of guidance, but they're not. You need a guide, right? Here are some closing suggestions. Regularly visit your core values. Life will throw you new situations at you, right? It's continuously changing. When they come, literally pause and think, or journal, which of my core values are relevant here? How can they guide me? For instance, facing career crossroads, bring out the compass list and see which option aligns better. Feeling emotional about something in the news, check with the value that's triggered. Is it justice? Is it compassion? And what that tells you about possibly taking action, or at least processing your feelings. Another one, use values in goal setting. When you're goal setting or setting new goals, like a New Year's resolution or otherwise, tie them to values. Instead of, I want a promotion because it pays more, think, I aim for a role where I can be more creative and helpful, because creativity and helping others are my values. The goal might be outwardly be a promotion, but you've anchored it in meaning beyond money or status. That way, even if the exact goal isn't reached, you can seek other ways to express the same values. And if it's reached, it actually will feel fulfilling, not hollow. Have a personal values statement or mantra. Some people condense their guiding principles into a short phrase or a few words they can easily remember. You might adapt famous ones or create your own, like be brave, be kind, be true, or integrity and compassion in all I do. Remember, or remember, family, curiosity, joy. Whatever resonates with you. You can write this somewhere visible or just hold it in mind during meditations. It's like your internal North Star. When in doubt, repeat your mantra, and it should reorient you. How about reflect on the day-to-day meaning as another one? At the end of the day, instead of only thinking about tasks done, also ask, what did today mean in the bigger picture? Did I live in a way that mattered to me? If not, what can tomorrow be? It prevents days from blurring into a slog, right? Each day can have meaning if you infuse it with values. Even boring or hard days can have meaning. Like, I fulfilled my responsibility, or I showed kindness under stress, or I learned patience, or I chose to be patient. Frankl wrote about how even in drudgery or suffering, one can find meaning with the attitude one takes. While hopefully most of our days aren't extreme suffering, the principle applies. If you give a day meaning by living it aligned with something that matters, right? That's what you want to do. You'll feel more fulfilled. How about embrace being a work in progress? Becoming your own guide doesn't mean you'll never get lost or make mistakes. Even seasoned sailors get blown off course by storms. The difference is they trust their tools and get back on track. If you have your inner compass, trust that even if you wander, you can always stop. Check your bearings, that is, reflect on your values, and correct the course. Don't use one slip as an excuse to abandon the whole journey. For example, if honesty is a core value and you catch yourself telling a lie out of fear instead of concluding that I'm a hypocrite, so forget it, you can acknowledge the slip and understand why it happened. And then resolve to make amends and be more truthful going forward. In fact, the process of realignment is success in living your values because it shows commitment. A compass isn't about never drifting. It's about always being able to find north again. As the indigenous perspective noted, we must remain, quote, committed and disciplined in the midst of all the distractions. It's a practice. Inspire others gently by living your values openly. You will likely inspire those around you. You don't need to preach. Unsolicited advice can turn people off. But when you see consistently, when people see you consistently acting with integrity, kindness, or passion, it stands out. It might make them think about their own values. We talked about community and workplaces. Values can be contagious in a good way. Your example could be the reason someone else takes their inner compass out of the drawer and dusts it off. There's a quote often attributed to various sources. Quote, be the change you wish to see in the world. Unquote. Living your values is exactly that. If you value honesty, being honest in a dishonest environment is a radical act of change. If you value empathy, treating people with empathy, even when it's not the norm, can slowly shift the culture around you. It might not always be dramatic, but it makes a difference. And even if it didn't, you'll feel better for living true. Reap the joy and meaning. Lastly, take your time to enjoy the benefits of values-driven life. It's not all effort and discipline. It's deeply rewarding. You'll likely find moments when you stuck to your values and are among they are the proudest in your memory. Achievements that align with your core values will feel immensely satisfying. Like you not only reached a mountain peak, but it was the right mountain peak. You didn't climb a different mountain. Relationships based on shared values will be some of your strongest because they're built on mutual respect for the other's principles and authenticity. So you acknowledge that. Perhaps during your weekly reflection, make a note of any time you felt this warm glow of, quote, this is what it's all about. Chances are it was a values alignment moment, like seeing someone you mentored succeed, or resolving a conflict peacefully, or finishing a creative project that expresses you. Celebrate those. Life of meaning is not a dour, stern affair. It's often joyful and full of heartfelt moments precisely because you're engaging what matters most. So as we conclude, picture yourself standing on a trail of a long journey. You have your pack of supplies, your skills, knowledge, and experience, and you have your handy, trusty compass, your values. You might not see the end of the trail. Life is full of surprises and unknowns. But as long as you have that compass and wisdom to consult it, you can navigate whatever terrain comes. Mountains of opportunity, forests of uncertainty, storms of adversity. You may occasionally take a detour or need to find shelter and wait out the storm, but you won't stay lost. Every step you take, guided by your core values, is a step forward in a life that feels authentic and meaningful to you. And that is success in its deepest sense. Remember Viktor Frankl's assertion that the ultimate freedom is choosing one's attitude, one's way, regardless of the circumstances. Your inner compass is the tool that helps you make that choice wisely. Choosing the path of purpose, integrity, and values expression over the path of least resistance or societal default. It empowers you to be the protagonist of your own story, not just a player of the scripts. I want to end with a brief quotation that ties nicely to our theme from the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. He said, quote, nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles. Unquote. Think about that. We find peace through the triumph of principles, meaning living true to our core principles or values is what gives us that deep inner peace. And it also suggests that external achievements or pleasures without principle leave a void, leave you empty. But a simple life lived by a clear inner compass can be profoundly peaceful and good. So as our journey on the Pax Dei Search for Steel continues, but this series of episodes come to a close, let's take one last look at what we've built together. Through personal stories, global wisdom, and real-world case studies, we've seen that values aren't just words on pages. They're your steel, or they're the steel in your blade, the anchor in your storm, and the code you carry with you into every community, raid, or boardroom. Maybe you've discovered a new core value or found the courage to stand up for your principles in a tough spot. Maybe you've realized your inner compass sometimes needs recalibrating, and that's okay. The truth is, living your values is never about being perfect. It's about choosing again and again to act in alignment with what matters most to you. So as you log off tonight, or you're headed back to your own daily quests, for example, remember this. You are the hero of your own story. Your values are your map, your compass, and sometimes even your lifeline. The worlds you build, whether in game or life, are only as strong as the values you bring to them. Keep reflecting, keep growing, and when you lose your way, and we all do, sometimes, pause, breathe, and trust your inner compass to guide you home. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I want you to stay true to your values. And if you found your values, if you did, do that exercise. I highly recommend it. Keep sharpening your steel and wherever you go next. Maybe you'll walk in with meaning and purpose and courage, right? That's about, ooh, look at that dawn cresting over the. That's what this is about. That's what this podcast is about. But I'd like to point out that the intro and outro are songs designed by me, created by Suno. I do have a music channel, Elysian Echo, on YouTube. I do put those same videos on Rumble. I do have a Rumble channel. This is recast, if you will, on Rumble. So wherever you are, look me up, Xpost, go ahead and engage with me and share with me some of the stories. Maybe you found a value you didn't realize you had. I'd like to know, because I want to support everybody in to make a better version of themselves. And hopefully I'm helping guide that. So keep an eye out for my content. Give me suggestions on content or subjects you'd like me to investigate. I research everything. So that's where I get most of these philosophical roots, this foundation, and I build on that. And I try to tie it to the three things: personal, workplace, and in-game. So with that said, no matter where you are in the world, have a good day, have a good night, and we will talk in the next episode, which will be tomorrow night, episode 146. I haven't decided what the topic is, so there's still time for you to influence what I'm going to talk about. Until then, be safe, everyone.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hold my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I face the night, tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive. In a world where the strong survive, I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready